All right, if you want to get in touch with us, we're Morning Startup on all of the things, including X. I actually got my designer to update that logo, but I haven't used his slide deck yet. He's going to be very annoyed with me. Okay, cool. And that's formalities out of the way.
There's a few shekels.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's good. I think we should keep it in there for
All right, so that's probably enough from me and us. We've got a very awesome presenter today. I think he's a Morning Startup veteran, right? You've done this a few times now. Been on stage and delivering good insights for pest startups. Alexander is you call yourself a fractional CTO. So you work with lots of different startups doing the CTO role. And through that, you've learned a lot about visual management, Kanban, flow, lean principles, all of this good stuff that we should be using to manage our work. And he's going to take us through all of that. Because I'm using Trello and that stuff, but it's all the processes around that. Like the tool's only one part of it. So really looking forward to this. Please make me welcome Alexander Zivkov.
That's right. Like I call myself fractional CTO. That's what I want to be. I work with startups. If you have a need for someone to, look after your technical things, and I have some capacity, I help people, and I like it. I love the environment and the energy of it. And I just started doing a mentorship for Plus8 Accelerator. Great guys. Is it still on? Okay. Yeah, okay. Not used to mics. Anyway, but from my experience with Plus8 Accelerator, right? I talked to guys, and I kind of amazing to me. There is no understanding of it. It's kind of very basic. What I want to talk about is very basic, and maybe you know about this, and nothing out of ordinary. But sort of people coming up, starting to work, they don't quite, I guess, know. And visual management, you don't need to read this book. I just love the title. It's all about learning to see. You already have your process. Somehow you go from idea to value delivered to customer. There is a process, there are steps along the way. But you might not see it, you might not know it, it just happens, right? And when it happens, you cannot improve it because it's hidden, right? Just learning to see, lay it out and understand what's happening. How do we get from idea to value delivered to customer? And if you're working with a team, it's a great tool for everyone to understand it. Right? Everyone is on the same page. Everyone see what's happening. How do we go and deliver value? All right. Closely related lean principles, right, to this. How do we deliver stuff? First, you identify what you want to do. You obviously want to do the most important things. And second, you just do it, right? It's all good? Yeah. Yeah. So it's all about creating flow of value, right? It came from Toyota management, Toyota lean manufacturing, principle. That's how Toyota got so big, because they used this idea of if you know what you want to do, the most important thing, the most valuable thing, and you get it done, and you keep doing this, just delivering value as a flow. That's all you need to do, right? That's a very basic principle. And if you don't know who Jocko Willink is, you definitely should look him up and then follow. It's a Navy SEAL commander. Exactly the same thing. Prioritize and execute. That's all you need to do. You need to know what's the most important thing, prioritize all your work, everything, what happens around you. You just take one thing and get it done, and keep moving, and keep the flow going. And now it decided to work. Okay. So another principle when you're learning to see is to make work visible, right? I kind of talk in these little catchy phrases, right? But it's easy to remember. Make work visible. It's important. Lots of work is hidden. Like founders, they hire developers, they don't know what developers working on. Like I spoke to a founder, he said, no, we have this bug in the app, and it's kind of annoying, it's a little thing, but I keep talking to developers, they're not fixing it. I'm saying, yeah, because they're working on more important things. You don't even know what's the most important thing in your application, in your app, right? You need to make work visible. It's about transparency, it's about everyone understanding what's happening. Okay, I'm good. Oh. All right, how do we do this? Very simple, very easy. There are lots of different tools, and this is called Kanban board, right? It's just to do, doing, done. This came from Trello. Trello is free. It's awesome. If you don't use anything, you just start with Trello. Lots of others. Doesn't matter what you use. You can use sticky notes on the board, like physical board, whatever you do. It has to be visual. It's visual. It's just information radiator. It shows you what's happening, right? It just you can glance at it and see what's happening in your value delivery system, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. It has to be like at a glance, visually, bang. Okay, I got it. When you put too much stuff in it, it becomes very convoluted, and you have to dig through this. It's not going to work as well. So simplicity, easy to understand and visual. It has to be relevant as well. You don't do it like once a month. In software development, what we do, every day we look at the board, right? We have tasks on the board, they're assigned to people working on them. The whole team gets together every day and look at it. What do we see? Is anything stuck? Any bottlenecks? Work bunching up? Work not moving? That gives everyone on the same page, right? Everyone having the same information. And you review and you act, and the board has to flow. It has to move. If something is stuck, that's the problem, right? That's the problem you need to address. It's not just kind of for no reason you keep it. Has to be relevant and has to be updated, and you review and act on information. Now, we all want to change the world and do big things. These tasks, they need to be small, right? It's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You don't eat an elephant on a board, right? Because it's never going to move. It's going to get stuck for a long time. You need to create momentum. It needs to flow, right? And when you keep moving things, usually I would say you need to update it like once or twice a day, every day. Because when you get to done, you feel a sense of accomplishment, right? Something happened, something's done, we're done. You get your dopamine hit, It helps you to keep going. It creates momentum. And as we know, things in motion tend to stay in motion, right? It's very hard to start going, but when you started going, when you keep going and you see it happening, and your tasks are flowing, your value delivered, your done column grows, it's very rewarding. People love it. That gives you good feeling, and you want to keep going. And yeah, it creates a sense of progress. Okay. We spoke about prioritization, right? How do you prioritize? You don't have a high priority, super high priority, very high priority, right? Like categories. You prioritize this to-do column, top down. The highest priority thing on top, less priority, less priority, less priority. And what it allows you to do, every new task, you just match it against, where do you put it on the board? You match it against specific other tasks, right? And then it's aligned nicely top down. And then when you want to start working on something next thing, you start from the top, right? You always take from the top and you always prioritize. And you keep doing it all the time. slightly off topic, but people usually ask, how do you prioritize? Okay, you can use these 3 angles to look at your tasks. Desirable. Do your customers want this? Do you want this? Anybody wants this? That thing to be delivered. Feasible. Can we do it? But lots of things, people want them, and we can't do. Pretty much anything can be done. It's just we're constrained by resources, right? And that's why should we do this? Can we make money out of it? Does it deliver us value? Right? Even if people ask for something, we can do it. It doesn't mean we should do it. Right? So you look at all 3, like the best value in the middle, and what we do in software, we size everything in t-shirts. Like you say, if this task was a t-shirt, would it be small or medium or large? Some things extra large, some like extra small. But you say, okay, it's highly desirable, low feasibility, high value, whatever you prioritize. But prioritization, very easy. It's extremely easy. Because when you compare things, if difference is big, you know what to do, right? If difference is small, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter. Just don't get stuck on it. Just put everything in one column and take from the top. Okay. Sorry, technology. So this is Kanbanized, different board, same thing, Kanban board. To do, doing, done, it's pretty simple. You usually go more granular, right? In software development, we go like analysis, development, testing, like quality assurance, blah, 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 different stages. And like I said, you have these stages and steps in your process, whatever you do. Some of them actually don't deliver value, like productive and non-productive states. Like this one, waiting for review, it's not really productive one, right? Because nothing is happening. You want to like move your value and have a flow, but you want to work on actually do something, right? If you wait for something to happen, it's not productive state. And you can see where your non-productive states, productive states. But also you can see the bottlenecks, right? Very easily. When you have too many tasks in one column, that's your bottleneck. What's important about it, because you want to improve your flow, your speed of delivery depends on your bottleneck. Bottleneck restricts your flow. It's like a flow of water through the pipe. Same thing. Everything moves with the speed of bottleneck. What it means, if you want to improve your flow, you need to improve bottleneck. If you're improving like other things, it's a waste. Because if you start improving this working, like let's say we have this development process and we focus on developer productivity, but everything gets stuck in quality assurance, it's a waste of effort to improve anything but bottleneck. So first you need to see your bottleneck, you need to understand where it is, and then you put effort into that. All right, how do you move stuff? There are 2 ways, like push and pull. Traditional sort of command and control, you push work on people, right? It comes from the top, from the management, say, okay, you do this, you do that, go do, right? That's pushing work on people. What the best method is pull system. When resource becomes available, I'm a developer, I finish my task, I'm available, I want to do something else, I pull work from that to-do state, right? So I'm a designer, I work on this work in progress, I'm done, I look what's next. It's prioritized top-down, I take from the top, and I pull it in progress, and I start working on it, right? It helps with people being accountable for their work, and they're working on their own terms, right? They complete the work, they're happy with what they've done, they take a new work, right? When you start pushing work on people, they have conflicting priorities, they don't know what to do exactly, jumping around, and it just leads to burnout and people not being happy about this work, the work they do. So now you see the number of columns keeps growing, and that's fine, because it's all about learning to see visibility of work, surfacing the process, right? So let's say this work is something to do with content and delivery, right? So you have this to-do column, or you can call it waiting for something, or ready for something, right? Column ready for content creation. Person who does content, pick it up, put it in progress, start working. When he finishes, he goes, okay, ready for design, or waiting for design stage, right? So a few more principles. You want to limit work in progress. It comes from lean manufacturing. You need to make sure, do we have, no, we don't. There are no, okay, it shows how many work items here, 3, 6, 4, right? So you want to limit that number, because people cannot really multitask, cannot jump around doing different things at the same time, right? The person only work on one task, and you need to allocate all the time and resources that person need to complete that task. Otherwise, that context switching is going to kill you, because people start jumping around between different tasks, nothing gets done. So what you do when you look at this board, you see, okay, who is doing too much? Where is that multitasking happening? So we just limit work in progress. That's important. And you use the pull system. Okay. The whole thing is flow, right? We want to optimize for flow of value. How do we do this? Eliminate waste. All these non-productive states, they are waste. And also, quite a lot of work you do, if it doesn't deliver value to customer, it's considered to be waste. Japanese, Kanban system, they use different words. It's not exactly waste, because it doesn't translate exactly. But any activity which doesn't deliver value to customer, considered waste, right? If customer is not going to pay you for that, you're wasting your effort. But let's say accounting, nobody going to pay you for accounting. Customers don't care how much accounting you do. It's waste, but you have to do it, right? So these things like planning, customer's not going to say, oh, you've done so much planning, I give you extra money. No, they don't care. It's a waste. You might have to do it, but you need to minimize it. You need to think about this. Which activities actually deliver value to customer, which are not, right? So elimination of waste, and work in progress is waste as well, because you already put effort into this work, into this task, but you can't get value out of it. You cannot sell it. Your customer can't get value because it's not done yet. And if it's not done, it's a waste of time and effort you put into this, right? So that's why you limit work in progress, because you want to eliminate waste. And you want to eliminate this context switching, right? That's second one, limit work in progress. Work in small batches. In Toyota manufacturing, they do just in time. They don't have much inventory. They deliver in small bits and pieces. Again, it's about eating an elephant, one bite at a time. And in software, what we do, we run this, sprint cycles, whatever. We want to deliver as quickly as possible. And to deliver as quickly as possible, you need to have smaller tasks. In startup world, everything is uncertain, right? You deal with uncertainty. You don't know if it's going to work. You know nothing. When you start, you have just idea. Oh, maybe this work, maybe, but everything is uncertain. What you want to do, you want to reduce your uncertainty, right? And then you work with hypothesis. You say, okay, what if we build this feature? Would people pay for it? You have this hypothesis. You want to prove it or disprove it, right? You want to get to done as soon as possible so you can learn. And that's why smaller tasks give you faster time to learning, to get the feedback, right? If you change the world, you don't know when it's going to happen, and it doesn't create momentum. Definitely break all your tasks in smaller tasks, but everything should be made as small as possible, but not smaller. Yeah, you don't want to update the board every 15 minutes, right? But like twice a day, 3 times a day, it's fine. You just need to keep updating it so that the tasks, they move and they create that momentum and the flow. Another important concept is definition of done. For every column, you need to be clear what does it mean to be done. What are the conditions for you to move it to the next one, right? And you need to do it up front, because what often happens, is it done? It's almost done, and people don't know what does it mean to be done, right? And they keep working on it. Like you ask for prototype, but people, put a lot of effort and make it really robust and scalable. You don't want scalable and robust. You want prototype, you want to try it, right? So you need to tell up front, that's the conditions for this task to be considered done, right? And usually we have it on every column, say, okay, development is done when, all the unit tests run, code completed, it pushed to whatever environment, blah. Quality assurance done when all the bugs reported and blah, 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 yeah? Design is done when, we have this layout, whatever, wireframes or whatever. And you want to push, you want to get done, you want to get done as soon as possible to create this flow, and what we call it cycle time. Minimize cycle time. I think I'm going to talk about metrics now. Okay, so I think we spoke about waste. Yeah, in Japanese it's muda, but there are different types of waste. You can Google, types of waste, lean, and one of them muda. Okay, how do you know that your Kanban, your visual board is working? You can use these metrics. First of all, like I said, work in progress limit. You set up these limits. You set up them on every column, but also in general. You don't want to have too much stuff in progress, right? And again, I'm from software development. In software development, we have these multidisciplinary teams, and people from quality assurance, from developers, they all work together in one team. And let's say if there's a bottleneck in the quality assurance, then developers might jump over and help. Designer might just come in and help, just because this is bottleneck and we need to address the bottleneck, right? And work in progress, you consider every column, but also everything going from, when you start working, when you pull the work item from to do and it's not in done, the whole board, right? It's still work in progress, it's still waste. So cycle time tells you how long it takes you from starting work to finishing. That there are lots of different names for this metric. For example, we can measure how long it takes from when developer finished developing work to running in production, right? And we use CI/CD pipelines and DevOps and all these things to speed it up, right? So you can measure that cycle time not from the start, but from any point in time, right? And you can measure how long it takes you to do design work. Let's say how long it takes you from start to finish, right? But in general, yeah, cycle time, how long it takes you to complete work. And throughput. Throughput is how much stuff you push through the system. You know. So if you optimize for these three, your system will work, value will flow, everything will get done. And that's like your sausage machine. If it works fine, you just feed it with your tasks, with most important first, and it gets them to done, right? That's it. Oh, I think I might have jumped around with this technology, but it's very basics. There's nothing groundbreaking. Make work visible, limit work in progress, focus on flow, get things to done. Break work into smaller pieces, it helps. Connect with me on LinkedIn, and if you want to have a chat or coffee, I'm okay. Really looking forward to it. And yeah, any questions? Thanks, guys.
We'll throw the mic around. Any questions?
Yeah, your hand up first.
I'm always a pain. Hey, Alexander, thanks so much for signing up and giving us that today. Really appreciate it. What I'm interested to know is, are you selling consultative services for yourself, or are you promoting Trello as a tool? I didn't quite get that from the presentation. Just want a bit more clarity if you could. Thank you.
No. I'm not promoting tool. You've seen screenshots from different tools. Yeah, sorry about that. Trello, Atlassian, Jira, Kanban is doesn't matter. Tool doesn't matter. The principles matter. Yeah. No. No, not so. Yeah.
There's a question.
I just do it because I love it. Love talking to people. Yeah.
Hi, and the question is I've been with the software developers for a long time, and lots of times we face problem with how small should the task be and how small can it be actually be made. So let's say that for an app we need some foundation works, and that is maybe it's a longer task for one developer. So how do you suggest to splitting those things into smaller chunks that actually is not that much splittable? Yeah. But that actually blocks the other pipelines, That's right, yeah. Sort of, you have to do it, and there are lots of ways, and if we talk about development, we actually want to work in vertical slices, right? We want to do front-end, back-end all together. I don't know if people are interested in this, but, just think about this. You want to break it down as a sort of principle. You want to deliver something, and also deadline's good for that, right? So when you tell developer, okay, I have this problem, I want to achieve this objective, what can you do in 2 weeks? You don't ask for scope. You say that's the deadline, and it's short, no more than 6 weeks. Nobody can look beyond 6 weeks, right? 2 or 3 weeks, that's okay. And you say, okay, and they say, okay, I can give you a prototype, and prototype is what you want, and then you improve, and you improve, and it's gonna flow. Nothing should get stuck for weeks without moving on a board. Yeah? 1 or 2 weeks? No. It needs to be daily. Daily something needs to happen. Maybe you don't release it to customer for 2 weeks, but internally you need to see progress. Yeah. And we have daily meetings when we daily look at the board and say, okay, this seems to be stuck. If something did move for 2 days, that's the red flag already. Maybe not red, but yellow. Yeah.
Good question here.
Hey, Alexander. First, great talk. Second, my question is, would you suggest there be a Trello board for a team separate? and a Trello board for like me individually separate, because we had a Trello board for a company and it got really convoluted, because I think it was also just the startup space. Everyone kind of wants to do everything, and everyone just started jumping into. So yeah, that was kind of an issue. And
Yeah, that's the thing. You want to make work visible, and you want everyone to understand what's happening. So, like, there might be reasons to have multiple boards or separate boards to keep it simple, so people can look at it and understand. It's all about information sharing and having same understanding of work in progress, bottlenecks, all these things. It has to be practical and has to be usable. It's not just for no purpose. You want to minimize waste, because this is the waste as well. Nobody going to pay you for this. You want to do it effectively, efficiently, but also you want to share information. But if you have other developers or other teams working, usually they would like to know what's happening in the management. What are you thinking about? What are the priorities? Like, even looking at this to-do list, they can look forward and say, oh, that's a lot of work coming in. I shouldn't be worried about my position. That's what we're going to do. And when they look at it, even for current work they do, they can do it keeping in mind future, right? What's coming. So I would say, yeah, it definitely needs to be visible. You need to learn to see, and everyone needs to see, and everyone needs to be on the same page. But if it becomes too complicated, then you split it, obviously, for your purpose, right?
Question here.
Thanks for the talk, Alexander. For startups that are literally at day one, what would you suggest are a couple of practical steps that they can take coming out of this session today, like 1, 2, and 3, to get started with what you've just described here?
Yeah, start your board with 3 columns. To do, doing, done. Put everything in to do.
Would you recommend a specific tool for a day one? Would you say
Trello.
Trello? Yeah,
Yeah,
cool, right.
And yeah, it's free. Just because it's free and it's beautiful. Yeah.
Awesome. And second one, for a team that's been doing this for 6 months and isn't finding it's working quite the way they want, what would you suggest they adopt as some patterns or techniques to start improving or fixing the challenges that they have for their board that now has 7 states and disagreement about what the states do and stories that aren't quite written the way that everybody can comprehend? Where would you start for a pattern for an organization that is doing this but not well, or as well as they could be?
Awesome. That's the awesome result of the visualization of the work. People having problems, people arguing, people asking questions. That's what you want. That's the purpose of it. When you put everything on the board, everyone understands, oh, I disagree. That's what you want. That's you achieved your goal with the system, right? When we start conversation and then you come to agreement, that's a separate process how you do it, whatever your company, whatever your culture. But just make it visible, make everyone understand it, make people talk about this. And when you stand against the board and you point the finger, there's something to point the finger on and say, this is not right, this is not, and people see it and they relate and you get on the same page. Yeah? Did I answer the question or I avoided?
Are you a fan of retrospectives?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. Okay. What I want to say. It's up to the team, pretty much, right? If you give autonomy to your people, to your team, to do the work they want to do it, they're gonna do a way better job. Instead of pushing these, steps on them, you let it evolve. You start with 3 columns, then you add, and then you say, oh, there's too many, and you maybe remove them. It's all experimentation, but it's sort of grassroots from the team. Whatever team feels like how they want to do it, just let them do it. But have clear definition of done. Everyone should understand what does it mean to be done. When do I move this? It needs to be clear and written, and everyone should understand that. And when you write this down, then you start arguing about this and evolve it.
That's what I like, the writing it down when you agree.
Yeah.
This is the definition of done, or this is what status is we'll use, and that way you have something to communicate against.
Yeah.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Alexander. So thank you for your talk. It was lovely. So I have experience of around 3 years of product management, and the common thing I've faced with all of the engineers is that when you talked about value and then executing it, and then you talked about shipping it into like small batches. So problem with that sometimes is like where do we define that? How small batch can deliver value? Because as many chunks you break it into, the first chunk isn't that valuable to the customer, right? So like, what's the balance and how do you maintain that balance? Because that is the common thing, that after 1 week, we're thinking of value, delivering value, but since it's such a small chunk, we don't deliver value. So how do we deal with that?
So value might be in your learning. I usually think about this. What am I going to learn by doing this work? I start with hypothesis. That's my hypothesis. I think if I do this, this is going to happen. You have your metrics to know, like, if you're going to hit it or not up front. And then you do absolute minimum work required to prove or disprove that hypothesis. You want to get to learning outcome as fast as possible, right? Especially for startup. You want to deal with uncertainty, right? What's the most uncertain thing? What's the pressing, most valuable? Okay, you might not deliver value to your customer with this little thing, but you learn, yeah? You get some learning, you get some feedback, and then you improve, because that feedback loop continuously improving, and yeah, that's obviously value, yeah, because when you reduce uncertainty, now you know what's working, what's not. For example, right, you run some experiments and you say, yeah, I wanted to say something else, but sorry.
Who else has got a question? Just hands up, just so I know where I'm going in this. So two more here. There we go.
Good morning. Thank you for the presentation. I work for an technical events planning agency, and we run 2 to 3 events per week. And we've just implemented Trello. And what we're seeing is that we're going to end up with a lot of boards, because at the moment we're looking at creating a board specific for each project. And within each project might be 20 or 30 tasks. Are we on the right track? Is that right, that we're going to end up with potentially 100 boards within our Trello? Or is there a better way to be looking at running the business with lots of small projects?
Yeah, whatever works for you. Yeah, just try, experiment. The most important thing to start. When you start, you see what doesn't work and you change. Even, like I said, to do, doing, done, start with that. Even that to-do column, that's what I want to say. It's very important. Like when you have idea, you say, I have idea. And you always want to jump into idea. It's like next shiny thing, right? But what you do is you put it on the card and you prioritize, put it on the board, to do. Usually what happens with to do, it grows and grows and it never gets done. And you never get to the bottom. But that's okay, because you took things out of your head, which you were thinking, and you put it in writing somewhere. And in your head you think, I dealt with this. It's not going to bother you anymore because it's written on a card and it goes into done, never gets done, but that's fine. You're free to do something else.
Just on that note, I think you're absolutely right. It's about what size works for you and your company, because I think it's also around like the information architecture level that you want to kind of keep. Do you want to keep all the information at the event level, or do you want to bring it up and have everything up there? And that's different for every organisation. So,
Do you want to see across the boards, like what works, what projects? Have that view of every project instead of having to go into a board.
Yeah, that's what we're struggling with, but it's also like there's so many tasks to be done within a project and different people to do those tasks.
In Jira, there are layers actually. There are epics, features, user stories, and tasks, and there'll be different boards. And let's say feature, when you deal a feature, there are a bunch of tasks, and they move on the different boards, but they all aligned, so that the levels.
When we use Planner, it's included in Microsoft, and we kind of gone through the same journey as you. We kind of went, oh shit, we've got 100 odd different pieces in our boards, and we thought, we'll change it to monthly to see this is how we're doing it, move it back. And I think you've got to go through that payment process to work out what works for you and your business. It's like there's no set cookie cutter. You've got to go, oh shit, this is not working because we're not getting stuff done. It's almost kind of the polar opposite. And then you kind of phase it through and go, right, this is the right size for us and our organisation. We'll start working out, and you take that and you apply it again.
Lucky last. Alex, thanks. Good talk, very good. I have a question because I was always working with analyzers, robots, over-automated. So I understand this 4.0 industry, there's no Mura, no Muda, no Muri. I agree, no waste. But what is your view on multitasking? how much you can multitask on the move, pushy multitask, high throughput. I believe it's working or not.
Yeah, like it depends what you do. In development, software development, that's my background, you really need to be in a zone. Like they say it takes 20 minutes to get into this zone. And if you interrupt it, you go out and then it takes another 20 minutes to get back to your work because it's very difficult work. You cannot multitask, right? You just switch tasks. That's what you do. And maybe you switch tasks quickly. And the small, like when I'm doing management work, I learn to switch quickly because I have my other tools to especially a board, because I don't think, you see, that board, what it helps me not thinking what's next. I only focus what I'm doing now. Yeah, this meeting, this next meeting, and I just push them through.
If you're looking at the, where is the border between switching and changing tasks? Because you can do like this.
Yeah, if you can switch quickly, but yeah, individuals, they did different, and that's why you have a pull system. But that pull system accommodates for everyone. Like when you finish your work, you want to have a break, you want to have a coffee, or you want to just jump straight into the next one. That's up to you. You pull the next work, and you're in control. Yeah, I think that's the best approach. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Awesome.